day once again to all the learning partners and colleagues. First of all, Happy New Year to all of you. This is our first learning video for 2022. Today, let's take a walk on one of the most controversial or common words in education scenario today, the flexible learning. For today, let's have some conversation on what is flexible learning. This is Cha Gonzalez, your learning partner in ChaSpeaks. Before we proceed, if you are new in this channel, please continue watching, like, and subscribe to ChaSpeaks. A lot of instructional video on teaching, learning, assessment, evaluation, and research are in store for you to watch and learn. The COVID-19 pandemic that started in Wuhan, China, has challenged lives in many aspects, including education. Governments worldwide, including the Philippines, have to respond quickly by closing down, not opening schools to slow down the disease community transmission. To follow this global implementation of physical distancing, the Philippine government and other governments worldwide declared no face-to-face classes starting in June 2020. Thus, the opening of classes was delayed in all schools at all levels. The unprecedented closure of schools forced education system to make unexpected change of delivery mode. In the Philippines, for example, all classes have to shift from face-to-face learning to online or blended learning modalities. Most schools decided to go online or blended learning or modular learning. However, schools were not ready, so as the teachers. Flexible became the mainstream modality to deliver learning, but of course, not all teachers and schools were ready. But flexible learning opened up many opportunities for us to develop and introduce systems, keeping in mind sustaining our educational goals and quality of education. Now, let's make sure that we are on the same page in understanding what flexible learning is. It is good to know exactly what flexible learning is and the elements of this construct and process. There are three characteristics of flexible learning. Flexible learning is learner-centered. The learning system gives high premium to the student, how they will be able to learn and how learning and instruction is delivered to them according to their needs and situation, encouraging greater independence. Since flexible learning is learner-centered, it allows the students to follow a learning process and pace according to their abilities and capacities. Second, independence. Flexible learning system encourages students to explore their own and how to best learn given any situation and materials presented to them. And third, autonomy on the part of the learner. In flexible learning, we expect students to learn with minimal guidance, that is, they do it on their own, achieving some kind of self-efficacy. When we speak of self-efficacy, we refer to the student's or individual's belief in his or her capacity to execute behavior necessary to produce specific attainments. That's according to Bandura. Self-efficacy reflects confidence in the ability to exert control over own motivation, behavior, and social environment. Hence, flexible learning main feature is to enable and empower learners to give greater control of their learning and become more self-directed. The flexible learning is best illustrated using the paradigm that quality delivery of teaching and learning process expands or ranges in various modes of instruction from face to face to distance or remote learning. It is based on the philosophy that education needs to be accessible for all learners who are unable to attend the physical classroom due to constraints such as distance, calamities, disaster, cultural practice, uh, attending to the means of livelihood, disability, and of course, the COVID-19 pandemic. At different forms of learning delivery, schools and academic institutions need to ensure the quality of all aspects of education. Hence, the paradigm that I am sharing with you shows the ecosystem of learning that can accommodate a span of realities. The paradigm is organized within a continuum of two dimensions: online, offline, face to face, and distance. The online offline continuum is a means of delivering the contents of learning, while the face to face and remote distance refers to the distance of the learning to the physical school setting. I mean, to the learners to the physical school setting. The intersection of content, delivery, and distance dimension produces four variants of teaching and learning process as presented in this figure. There are four elements that vary in the teaching and learning aspect across the four quadrants of flexible learning. This includes the approach to learning, pedagogy involved, model of presenting learning material, the teaching and or facilitator, and how learners' progress is monitored. In the first quadrant, the delivery is online through face-to-face interaction. This involves integrating technology on certain lessons while other lessons are delivered via face-to-face or what we call blended learning. In this scenario, the teacher facilitates the learning process. This is the usual approach where the teacher is present inside the classroom. In the second quadrant, the delivery of the lesson can be pure online and the learner is based at home or in a setting far from the school due to defined constraints. In this case, technology is integrated in most of the lessons. The pedagogy is also blended, where various combinations of strategies are facilitated through an online mode. In this scenario, the facilitator of learning would be the parent, guardian, tutor, or any adult who can assist the learner. It is possible for the learner to monitor the learner at scheduled times through any forms of communication. In this aspect, the structure of teaching is learning is not too much controlled by the school, and standards are provided also, but standards are provided by the school in terms of delivery mode. In the third quadrant, the learning is facilitated by the teacher in the school setting, and the learning resources are provided via printed modules or what we call offline. An example of learning results would be a learning module that facilitates the learning process. The usual pedagogy are implemented here by the teacher who is physically present in the classroom setting. There are numerous available standards for this quadrant that includes teaching competency and frameworks for the teaching learning process. CLAD Asia has reported some standards in this quadrant and in all the quadrants of this flexible learning concept. The fourth quadrant involved The learning involves the learner at a remote location, and the lessons are provided via printed or offline, or it can be accessed in a given source. This approach here is described by the interaction of the learner and the printed material. The facilitator of the learning here, of learning here can be the parents, guardian, tutor, or any qualified adult, or even learning materials itself. The adults who can assist the learner are guided by the pedagogy presented in the learning materials. The teacher can visit or send an offline feedback via SMS Messenger, WhatsApp, FB Messenger, etc. for the learner's progress. This aspect of flexible learning is provided also uh, with some standards, okay, by the school, or the teacher can also have to provide certain standards for us to be able to ensure that learning is actually taking place. The elements are categorized into the four aspects that refer to the second and fourth quadrant of flexible learning. The learning resources can be offline or online. Online are the ones that you can download from the internet or to a learning management system or LMS. And offline lessons are the modules or printed materials. The role of parents and the tutors are very important here. The delivery, which is actually the facilitation or the pedagogy that the teacher or the adult, okay, supporters would use in term to ensure that the students can learn. Fourth, monitoring and evaluation of flexible learning. These four aspects are selected because they vary depending on the delivery of content, either online or offline, and distance, whether it's face to face or remote. Please note that these four elements can be considered, okay, when we even develop teacher appraisal system or any school program in terms of whenever we develop, okay, flexible learning programs, okay, to support the learning process of our students. Okay, so the main concerns of teacher in flexible learning is the self, the task, okay, impact. Self-concern. This refers to the teacher's apprehension of self-preservation. Does the teacher have the ability to design and deliver flexible learning? Second concern, task concern, refers to how flexible learning will change the tasks and techniques in class instruction, okay, either offline or online. Does the teacher have the capacity or ability to introduce interactive and engaging activities? The third concern is impact concerns. How does the flexible learning impact on student achievement? Will the teacher be able to deliver class instruction that class instructions that allow students to achieve? In flexible learning, we need to remember 5 points. Okay, and these are let's go to the 5 point. The flexible online are centered on the interest of the learner. Students are our main considerations, okay, in our delivery system. Second, learners should be motivated to become active participants. Learning at their own pace, we should support them, provide scaffolding for all their learning activities. Third, learning is more personalized, more human than standardized. Teachers should ensure that learning is more personalized, more humane than standardized. We should always maintain the personal relationship with our students. Either our approach is online, remote, or modular, we must ensure that we'll still consider individual needs of our students. Fourth, learning and assessment process should be aligned and integrated. And this is very important. The integration of learning and assessment must not be relegated or taken for granted. The fifth one, parents' engagement is the key to is the key success to the success of flexible learning. Of course, this is one of the major changes in the ecosystem of flexible learning. Parents, tutors, learning supporters play an important role in the learning process. Now, the challenge is to ensure teaching delivery is still maintained and sustained in the flexible learning approach. As teachers, we are still responsible for using variety of instructional strategies to address individual students' strength and needs, thereby ensuring that each student has an opportunity to learn and succeed. Again, thank you for this another episode on ChaSpeaks. Before I end my presentation, I got some instructional videos available in my YouTube channel about teaching, learning, assessment, research, and evaluation. So please watch, like, and subscribe and share to everyone. This is Dr. Gonzalez on ChaSpeaks. Thank you and have a good day. Enjoy learning.